Harihi Om, Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sadashiva-samharambham, Shankaracharya-madhyamam, Asmadacharya-paryantam, Vande Guru-paramparam. Namaskara to all. This is your host Soumya. Welcome to yet another session from Indica Moksha on the account of Global Festival of Oneness. This is a month-long festival on Adi Acharya Bhagavadpada, covering various aspects and topics of Advaita Vedanta. Today's topic is Brahmajnanam is through Shruti alone by Swami Brahmavidananda Saraswati Ji. Swamiji is a traditional and contemporary teacher of Vedanta. Having lived his life as a sadhu for more than 30 years, he has facilitated the growth of many students in different parts of India. Formerly a marine engineer, Swamiji as a youth was inspired by Swami Chinmayanandaji, and he studied Vedanta under Swami Dayanand Saraswati Ji in Sandipni, Mumbai from 1976 to 78. Later, he spent 7 years at Rishikesh in the Himalayas doing advanced studies in Vedanta under various traditional teachers like Swami Tarananda Giriji, Swami Harihara Tirtha Swamiji, and so on. Since 1985, he has been based in Mumbai, unfolding the vision of Vedanta in his regular classes. Swamiji conducts programs for private and public sector companies, including some multinational Fortune 500 companies. His corporate programs include personal spiritual coaching and workshops on the Indian ethos in management, personal empowerment, and other human resource development issues based on a contemporary and pragmatic understanding of universal spiritual principles. Many companies are testimonial to the powerful personal transformation that takes place in people who attend these programs. Unassuming and pragmatic, Swamiji effortlessly facilitates participants to maximize the potential in all areas of their lives. With that introduction, over to you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Soumya. Glad to be here again at the Indica Moksha Festival of Oneness. So since the prayer was already been said, I'm not going to repeat it. Now talking about how Brahmajnanam can take place. This is a topic where there are a lot of notions, some confusions. Now let us look at, first of all, the need of the Shruti itself. Brahmajnanam is nothing but they're one and the same. Okay. So with that premise, I'll start and say, we have 5 means of knowledge, pramana, pramakaranam, pramana. 5 means of knowledge available for us that we can independently use. One is perception, basic, fundamental, see, hear, etc. Then based on perceptual data, we have other pramanas. But here the problem comes that I have to know myself. Perception is meant for things other than myself. So perception will not work. Similarly, any other pramana is based on perceptual data. Like the simplest one, anumanam, inference. I need to have some data to make an inference. All the data I have about myself is based on self-ignorance. I am ignorant about myself, and therefore I have concluded that I am the body, mind, etc. So, the data available for me is not going to be the basis for me to infer I am that limitless Brahman. In fact, it's a problematic data that has to be negated. Next one would be Arthapatti, what is properly talked about as presumption, but I would talk about it as deductive logic. Same, based on data, no data available. Upamanam comparison, to compare both should be available for my perception. Atma is not available, nor is Brahman available, because the limitless cannot be perceived. And the last one, Anupalabdhi, cognizing things which are not there. But I'm very much here. So how can I use something that I use to cognize things that are not there? Like, I were to ask, is there a crown on my head? Ah, it's not there. How do you know? Not through perception. Because for perception, light has to be reflected from the crown to your eyes. There is no crown to reflect the light. So with a crown in your mind, the idea of a crown in your mind, you look at my head and say there is no crown. Anupalabdhi. It is meant to you know things which are not present here. But I am very much present. The Atma, Brahman is very much present. So all the five pramanas cannot be used. Here is where the sixth pramana comes in, the Shruti, for knowing things that I cannot figure out by my five pramanas. All human development in the fields of art, literature, philosophy, psychology, science, physics, neurophysics, neurology, all of them have happened because of the five pramanas, because these are things we can figure out. To figure out what we cannot figure out. Is there a heaven? No. I don't have enough data to make any inferential conclusions for it or against it. Is there karma phala? Some sort of supporting logic is there. But besides that, I need the sixth pramana, the Shruti, to come and tell me these things. So the Shruti is divided into two parts. The first part, Purva Mimamsa, deals with Dharmartha Kama, which for the time being is not the subject matter for this talk. But they're interesting. Why? Because some of those karmas can help me have some Shraddha in the Shruti. Like a few years back, there was no rain in Bombay. So at the setup where I've been teaching since 1985, Shankara Matam, I'm practically there, Asthana Vidwan there, Shankara Matam Matunga in Bombay. We did a simple Varna Puja, not even a Kariri. And it rained. Oh, so the Pramana works. Some Shraddha is developed. Similarly, some understanding of karma phala, etc. So there are enough karmas therein where the result is here and now, meaning in this lifetime itself, cannot be immediate. Like a student wanted to have a child, did a Santana Gopala Yajna and got a child. So all these help one develop one Shraddha in the Shastra. Now with that, we come to Vedanta, the second section or the last section, Taramimamsa of the Veda, of the Shruti. And one thing has to be kept in mind. Any knowledge has to take place in the human mind. Manasa eva anudrushtavyam yad manasana manute. The truth may be yad manasana manute, that which cannot be thought of. But the knowledge of that has to be in the mind alone. Manasa eva anudrushtavyam. The Shruti is clear on. By the mind alone, it has to be seen. Any knowledge, spiritual or otherwise, has to happen in your mind. People talk of blowing out the mind. Go ahead. What will you know? An ignorant being with a mind can know something. He blew out the mind. No mind. The ignorant being without a mind doesn't know anything. Doesn't work. Yes. So the Shruti itself says that the Shruti Pramanam is necessary. That is why words like this have been used. Aupanishadam Purusham. The Purusha that is known in the Upanishad. Through the Upanishad. Tad Vijnanartham Sagurumeva Vigached. Totriyam Brahmanishtam. All these Vakyas in the Shruti support the understanding that Brahmajnanam can be only by the Shruti. It cannot be by anything else. Why? Because I need a pramana. Remember, I as an individual, when I am born in this earth, in this lifetime, I am born ignorant. And as I live, slowly I shed my ignorance about the world around me, about my body. I don't know anything. I'm born ignorant with my eyes closed. Mother is a warm feeling, nice smell, food. I don't even know that it's mother. I only know this much. I don't know even this is my body. That's why you find babies putting their finger in the mouth. Why? The mouth is the most developed sense organ. You need that to survive. So the one that develops the fastest is the mouth. So the babies will suck there and find, oh, there is sensation here and there is sensation here. So that means this is part of me. Okay. Put the towel in the mouth. There is sensation only here. There is no sensation here. Put the toe in the mouth. You see in babies doing this. There is sensation here. There is sensation in the big toe. This much is me. Conclusion. I am not even going into previous samskaras. Just this lifetime, it's enough. So I keep shedding ignorance about my body, about the world around me. I'm also ignorant about myself. Who am I? I don't know. So this ignorance about myself is sitting in my mind quietly. I can go around the world and come back. My self-ignorance will continue. I can get a PhD in physics. My self-ignorance will continue. You can get a PhD in philosophy. Self-ignorance will continue. You can go to the moon and come back. Self-ignorance will continue. You can go to Mars. Coming back is not yet sure, but self-ignorance will continue on Mars. Why? Because there has been no occasion, no pramana to remove the self-ignorance. None of the pancha pramanas work. In fact, the Shruti says that Paranchikani Vyatirnak Swayambhu Paran Pashyati Nantara. All my sense organs and the five pramanas turned outside to know the world, not me. Who am I remains unknown. But look at it. I know that I am, I exist. What I am is not known. Because there is this basic self-awareness, I am, I exist. The human being concludes, I'm the body, I'm the mind, I'm my emotions, my thinking, my knowledge, the roles that I play with all of this. Whole lot of conclusions are added on. Self-ignorance remains. I may be a very intelligent being. I met and discussed with scientists, intellectuals, great guys. Their thinking is unbelievable. But pramana is not there, means of knowledge is not there. Self-ignorance continues. In fact, I met a scientist who said that he was into quantum physics. He said, for 30 years, I have been studying matter only to conclude it doesn't exist. It's all energy. He thinks he's talking Vedanta. But everything is energy is not Vedanta. Everything is I consciousness is Vedanta. How will you come to that? After 30 years of work, he has come to I am prana. Prana is the reality. It's a long way to go. And science cannot get it because science as a pramana will not work. We think, oh, everything is scientific, therefore science should work. Science also will not work because science is based on the 5 pramanas. Without 5 pramanas, there is no science. So the 5 pramanas are meant to know the world, including my body, medicine, neurology, etc. And little bit my mind in psychology, psychiatry. And the basic premise in science is a very materialistic paradigm. The premise is very materialistic. Materialistic, I'm not saying in terms of how piyo maja karo, have fun in life, not that way. But that everything is made up of matter and consciousness is an evolute of matter. That means consciousness is created. If that is true, then consciousness will become finite. There is no moksha. You have to put the sign indica anirmoksha, not indica moksha. Why? Because where is moksha then? Consciousness is created, manifested at a certain period of the evolution of matter. So it began at some time and it will go after some time. So how will science come to it? Plus, science is based on observation. It is based on generalizations. I'm talking about one consciousness. The Shruti is talking about one consciousness, which can't be observed because it is the observer I consciousness that observes the world. Therefore, I can't be at both sides of the telescope. At both ends, I cannot be there. And what generalization? There's only one consciousness, one Atma, one Brahman. Therefore, what is the generalization that we can do? So the basic paradigm of science does not lend itself to Vedanta. Now, there have been some studies done with the field of yoga, etc., and found there was something that the yogis talked about was scientific. I'll accept that. That's not a problem. But I'm talking about pure Vedanta, about the fact of consciousness. Science can never reach there. Because the consciousness is not a subject matter for science. Science deals with the 5 pramanas, and we already seen 5 pramanas are not applicable when it comes to the Atma. Tasmat Shruti eva sharanam. If you want to know the self, you have to go to the Shruti. There's no other way. Just no other way. What are you going to do about it? And this non-acceptance of the Shruti at one level is a little bit of a pseudo self-esteem. Self-esteem is very healthy to have. But non-acceptance of the Shruti is a bit of a pseudo self-esteem because I like to believe I have all the answers. I can figure out everything. It is a refusal to accept the fact that when it comes to moksha, I cannot do it on my own. I need the Shruti, and plus I need somebody to explain the. This, the modern secular mind finds it very, very difficult. Unless the teacher happens to be a bit charismatic. Okay? Happens to be charismatic, where you look up to the guy because of his charisma. Very difficult for the modern mind to come to this. But unless the mind, and it's not that every modern mind doesn't come to it. Yeah, I have so many people coming to my classes. Since 85 onwards, 1,000 people must have passed through my classes. So it is not that everyone doesn't come to the Shruti. People do. It's a minority and always be a minority because the Shastra also says that. Kaschid dhiraha pashyati. Some some thinking man will come to it. Some thinking person will come. So now here we have the situation that if you want Brahmajnanam or Atmajnanam, you need to come to the Shruti. But here also there are some conclusions. What should you do to know yourself? The Shruti says, Atma vare drashtavyaha. You must see yourself. Okay. But it is not an object of perception. So how do I see myself? Shrotavyaha. Listen to the Shastra. Listen to a sampradaya with unfolding the Shastra. Listen. He doesn't say read. He doesn't say study. Your own branch of the Veda, you have to chant. But when it comes to the Upanishad, Atmajnana, it says Shrotavyaha. Listen. Listen to a sampradaya with teacher. Why sampradaya with teacher? Because it's necessary that the teacher is teaching the Shastra. If I say, I'm teaching out of my own experience, that may be valid for you, not for me. My experience of life is different. Your experience is different. So it may not be valid. If it is out of my own experience, highly subjective. Because experiences by its very nature is subjective. How is experience subjective? Two people go to the beach. One person says, ah, how beautiful the sea and the trees and the sand, and he's thrilled with the whole thing. The other guy is miserable. Why? It's triggering off all the memories of the girlfriend he lost on the beach, who walked away with somebody else. So the same beach, the experience of both the people are different because of what you're carrying inside. So if a teacher is teaching, he can't be saying, at the most he can say is, I have validated the Shastra in my life. He can say that. And that is what everyone is supposed to do, to validate the Shastra in your life. Why? How do you know whether a pramana works or not? You know, there are two diametrically opposite stances. One stance is the Tarkika stance, which many people follow. Many schools of thought follow this. That the pramana working has to be validated by something else. Parata pramana. I'm not going to go into the technicalities because it's not the morning session. So I'm not going to go into the technicalities, but from another thing has to prove it. Now, what will prove it? So they'll talk in terms of one school, samvadi, visamvadi, pravritti. A pravritti, an action which is successful or not. You saw a seashell on the beach. You thought it was silver. If you pick it up and it turns out to be silver, it's samadhi pravrti. Your pramana operation is correct. If you picked it up and it turned out to be a shell, your pramana is not prama, it is brahma. Therefore, pravrti, samvadi, visamvadi pravrti proves the pramana. In other words, your pramana has to be validated by something else. Vedanta takes the opposite stance. I am holding a pen in my hand. If you are seeing it, how are you going to validate this is a pen? Do you need to validate? You need to validate that this is a pen. Perception proves it. How are you going to validate it? Smelling it? Another pramana? All of you who are listening to me in this webinar know this is a pen. None of you have done any action to validate right now. Because you can't reach out through the screen and grab this pen. But you all know this is a pen, all right? If one pramana need not be validated by something else. But you can always have a problem that, hey, my eyesight is not clear. I can't see the pen clearly. Okay, support it with some spectacles. Oh, this screen is not very clear. Okay, fine. Clean up the camera. Okay, now you can see it. So these type of pratibandhakas can be there. That's a different thing. Those are external conditions in terms of validating a pramana. So how is a pramana validated? A pramana can be validated only by itself, not by anything else. That means if you want to see whether the Shastra is telling you that your Brahman is valid or not, you have to use the Shastra to see whether it is true or not. There is no other way of validation. Let me tell you my story my teacher used to say. Here is a person who as a child could see but then went blind. For 25 years he has been blind. His parents took him as a kid to a lot of treatments, nothing worked. He's got fed up of all the treatments. Now there is news that a new type of surgery has been discovered and that is particularly effective in this type of blindness. So they persuade him to undergo that. And he undergoes that surgery. After undergoing the surgery, 5 days his eyes was kept blindfolded, bandaged. The doctor opens up the bandage and tells the person, please open your eyes and see whether you are seeing or not. And the patient says, doctor, I have been disappointed by so many treatments. My heart cannot stand another disappointment. Please prove to me the eyes will see. Then I'll open my eyes. Now, what can the doctor say? At the most, the doctor can reassure. In the West, they can't do that because then if it doesn't work, he can be sued. At the most, hey, the operation was successful. Cases like yours have been cured. There was no infection. Everything went smooth. I'm sure you will see. Can you convince him? Prove it to me. Unless he opens his eyes and sees, there's no way you can prove it. Tata pramanam, a pramana can be proved only by itself. A pramana can be validated only by itself. So now you come to the Shruti. How do you validate it? You have to validate it. Every student has to validate the Shruti. That's why you need a good sampradaya with teacher who can unfold the Shruti without any hassles. That is why this specification of the teacher is mentioned, Shrotriyam Brahmanish. And the qualification of the student is also mentioned. Why? Because everyone is not going to get it. Oh, that means you are discriminating. He knew this. This Brahmin class is always like this. They discriminate against others. That's why you put in all these qualifications. No, no, no. The qualification for the study of Vedanta has got nothing to do with your birth or your karma. It has got something to do with your mind. It is like studying calculus. Supposing you want to study calculus. All these years you didn't study calculus because you didn't have the time. There was no professor available who will come and teach you. Now you have got hold of a professor. Fine. You're going to start your study of calculus. So the professor starts by saying a function is 1 to 1 or 1 to many to. What is that? Professor, function I understand is what you do. So the professor understands. This character doesn't understand basic calculus. All right. Do you understand? What is a plus b the whole square is equal to a squared plus b squared plus 2ab? What is this a squared, b squared, etc.? Do you understand what is 16 into 5? That 16 into 5, I think 80. All right. So now the professor has found what level he is. To study calculus, you actually need to know algebra. But if you don't know, it is not that you are denied, but you have to start from mathematics, simple arithmetic, mathematics, go to algebra, then go to calculus. Similarly, certain qualifications for the student of Vedanta is mentioned, not to deny the person, but to show the person that these are the qualifications that will help you validate the Shastra. If you don't have them, you will not be able to validate it. You will say, my teacher is great. When he teaches, I understand. And then what happens after the class? After the class all goes out. After the class, it all seems to go out. When the teacher whose Ananda went away, my Ananda also seemed to go away. I am the same. So Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampati, Mumukshutvam, all these qualifications are mentioned in the Shruti so that you can validate it. Because there is no other way to know whether a pramana works or not. So now I have come to the pramana and says Atmavare Shrotavya. Okay, I am willing to do the Shravana. But in the sentence is also Mantavyaha. You must think a lot about it, question it, etc. That's understandable. Because for understanding, a lot of reasoning, etc. is necessary. Understand. Nididhyasitavyaha. This has been misinterpreted by asampradaya teachers. And they say, in Shravanam, you will get indirect knowledge. And in meditation, Nididhyasa, you will get direct knowledge. First obstacle to understanding Vedanta. I have seen people who have spent lifetimes trying to meditate and get some sort of, I don't know what they expect, some event, something. No, in samadhi, you'll understand. I also believed that in the beginning and tried it out. So I would go and sit in some meditation. This was before I joined the ashram. Okay. When I was a marine trainee, I had to leave home at 6:30 in the morning. So I'd get up at 4 o'clock and sit down for a minute. And sometimes I'll go into samadhi. Samadhi, there is no idea of time. So my mother would get up and come at 6 o'clock and shake me awake. What has happened? You don't have to go to work. It's already 6 o'clock. Oh, okay. Get ready fast and run. Then I started keeping an alarm clock. But in samadhi, you won't hear the alarm. 1 year I did this. Doesn't work. Why? Because self-ignorance is there. With this self-ignorance, and the mind is projecting. The mind is projected, I'm the body. I'm the mind. I'm my emotions. I'm my thinking. A lot of wrong notions have come. This is the problem for moksha. One, self-ignorance. Second, my wrong ideas about myself. So, in samadhi, the projecting mind is resolved. Wrong ideas are not there. What about ignorance? Ignorance will go only when vritti jnanam takes place. For vritti jnanam is a thought. For vritti jnanam to take place, I need a pramana. In samadhi, there is no pramana. It won't work. I tried it for a year. It didn't work. But I was smart. I didn't say I must work harder. I said I must work smarter. I must re-examine. And luckily, my guru was available. I went and discussed with him, and I discovered what an idiot I am. Doesn't work. That's why in Vedanta there's a term for the samadhi called andha. It won't work like that. So here there is another notion that comes in. It is not samadhi in terms of quieting the mind and resolving the mind. It is a samadhi that is mentioned in yoga as dharma mega samadhi. Rama. There are modern gurus who talk about it like this. Now, dharma mega samadhi. Many people who talk about dharma mega samadhi are not born into it. Okay? In a very simple manner, if I have to explain dharma mega samadhi, okay, it involves a lot of practice. Okay? Practice in terms of clearing up my energy systems, my nadis, etc., so that I can connect up with the cosmic energy. It takes years of practice to do this clearing up. Because we are polluting ourselves with a lot of toxins. Our atmosphere is good enough to keep polluting. And all our nadis get polluted. Our emotions polluted. Yoga will talk about it as kleshas. To be free from all that. Lot of kriya has to be. Then lot of connecting up with the cosmic energy has to be done. And finally, in meditation, I will get an insight into Hiranyagarbha's mind, Ishvara's mind. A glimpse. Okay, I got a glimpse. Now look at it. I cannot take in everything that is there in Ishvara's mind. My pokey little mind will get blown out. Ishvara's mind is a totality. My mind is a small little bit. An insignificant bit of Ishvara's mind. Okay, so I'll get connected up. I got connected up. What will happen? Let me give you an example. Let us say quantum physics became popular and well known the last 30 years or so, roughly 30, 40 years. Before that, it was Newtonian physics, classical physics. Let us say here is a classical physicist. He's a physicist, okay, well-informed person. He gets into Dharma Mega Samadhi and gets an insight into physics. Why? Ishvara's mind is all knowledge. All knowledge is there in Ishvara's mind, including quantum physics, okay? He gets a glimpse. What did I see? I saw twinning of electrons, etc. But that is not possible. His understanding of classical physics will make him doubt all that he has got a glimpse of, because he has got only a glimpse. This didn't happen in normal living because it went on over the discovery went on over 30, 40 years, slowly, step by step, step by step. But even a great mind like Einstein dismissed quantum physics. Einstein, the mind that talked about relativity in the Western world for the first time, dismissed quantum physics. So what will happen if this guy sees a glimpse of it? He'll dismiss it. So now here we have this individual, yogi. He has spent 30 years refining his body, the asanas, pranayama, this, that, etc. He's very identified with this because he has to purify his nadis. You have to have a strong sense of connection, body-mind connection. Yoga, no? And he goes into Dharma Mega Samadhi and he sees a glimpse. Everything is nothing but consciousness. Then he comes out. What did I see? Consciousness. This seat I'm sitting on is real. I'm sitting on a rock on this mountain and the rock is feeling so hard, my nerves are going to sleep. I can't move my legs properly. He'll have to interpret that vision that he got in Dharma Mega Samadhi in terms of what he knows. And what does he know? I am a finite being. This body and mind is me. So what will his mind project? His mind will project this as a beautiful experience of oneness. Not knowledge of oneness, experience of oneness. In Samadhi, therefore he will start talking. In Samadhi, there is an experience of oneness. You are that life. Okay, I am life. That is, you have to live in the full potential of what you are. What happened to Advaita, Satyam, Mithya, etc.? Because remember, he's interpreting it in terms of his knowledge. There's no guru available to negate what you are not, all your notions about yourself, and then reveal what you are. Neti neti iti vakyataha, the Shruti says that. That neti neti has to be helped. You need help to do that. But this is, you're being very judgmental about yogis, etc. This is what happens to many of them. If yogis are willing to look beyond yoga into Vedanta, they will get it because their minds are very ready. Why am I saying this? Because I have a friend. In fact, a lot of my pranayama work, etc., that I do to keep my health going, I learned from him. Great guy. An expert in this. And he goes into Dharma Mega Samadhi. I seen him diagnosing people. I said, hey, one of my students had a heart attack in Rishikesh. That heart attack in Rishikesh should not have happened. Then he went into this Dharma Mega Samadhi and told me what is the problem, this, that, etc. I went and told him, he told his doctor things got solved. There it worked well because he understands the human body. But when it comes to this final step of I am everything, he says, I can't get it. I said, champ, you won't get it that way. You have to study what I know. No, I'm still going to try this. Try it for another 10 years. After that, come back to me. Okay. After that, I don't know how long I'll be. I have met these people, they have tried, it doesn't work. Oh, what about all the rishis who got it? The next question will be, what about all the rishis who got it? Every Upanishad, there's a story of a rishi going to somebody and learning. Isn't there? If the no a teacher is mentioned, a general line of teachers will be mentioned. It is Sushruma Purvesham. This is a word from the teachers of. Indra going to Uma, Aimavati in Kenopanishad. Narada going to Sanat Kumara. Indra going to Brahmaji. Going to Varuni. So every great Rishi was a student before. That's why we say Sadashiva Samarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryantam, Guru Parampara. Why? Because it is the teacher who has handled the Shruti for us. Without Shruti, how is it going to work? Asmat Shastram Pramananti. The Shastra alone is a pramana for this. You cannot get it on your own in Samadhi, it won't work. Even the Rishis did not get it on their own. That's why it is all symbolized in this beautiful imagery of Shiva taking the role of Dakshinamurti to teach. And this teaching is the Shruti. There is no other way. Individual Samadhi, this, that, etc. will not work. It's a pipe dream if you want to. I was in an organizational setup and I remember we were all sitting in with Swami Chinmayananji. And there was this, one of the trustees, there is, Swamiji, I've been sitting and meditating for 20 years. Nothing has happened. Swamiji looked at him and said, nothing will happen. What do you expect to happen? Self-knowledge is not an event to happen in meditation. The whole transformation is cognitive. Atma vare shrotavyaha. Then why is niditya satavyaha mentioned? To own it up in my life. Because very often I am not qualified enough. My qualifications are a bit lacking. Where is it lacking? In my question of integrity. What do you mean integrity? Is your thought, word, and deed in perfect harmony? Are you an Arya? Arjavam. Thought, word, and deed in perfect harmony. Very often it's not. How many white lies you tell? Swamiji, why were you late in joining up? I thought you were going to join up at 6:45. Instead of being honest and say I had some problems on my computer, what do I say? No, I had an important phone call to attend. How can I admit I was struggling with my computer? I mean, I will say I had a problem. Network problem. But we tell these white lies, which create the small integrity issues. Gap between what I know and what I do. Therefore, I have to do some meditation to own it up, to make it mine. That's why Nididhyasa Tavyam is mentioned. Not that something new is going to happen in Nididhyasa. Nididhyasa, nothing new will happen. Why? Pramana is not being operated. Swamiji, there are cases. Buddha, etc. What about them? There are cases. I'll explain that as well. I mean, Buddha we all respect. Okay? Buddhism in Shankara has negated. Shankara negated a lot of Buddhist ideas. In fact, his grand guru, Bhagavadpadacharya, did even more. Yeah. But at the same time, the Bhashya, when he negates, he calls Buddha Sugataha, Sushtu Gatam Jnanam Yasya, whose knowledge is beautiful, Tatagataha, Tat Agatam Yena, one who has understood that. So all these nice names are used. So with all respect to Buddha, how did it happen for him in meditation? A small story. Okay. I was invited by some people. It was someone's 50th wedding anniversary, one of my students. So he said, Swamiji, you also must come and bless. I said, okay, Aajay. Go there, spend some time, enjoy a good meal, come back. So, because of my address, people start asking all sorts of questions. Because there are people who are not into Vedanta there. And I don't like to talk about Vedanta in such settings. So I generally am telling a story or cracking a joke, making people laugh. I'm an informal man, but I respect the knowledge. So after the dinner was over, at 7 o'clock, one of my friends said, Samji, I'm going your way. I'm going to Vashi. Can I drop you? I said, sure. Never say no to a good offer. So we are driving down. He's driving. I'm sitting next to him. Suddenly he starts laughing. I said, Arey Munde, why are you laughing now? I have not cracked any joke. Kya bolu, Swamiji? You know the joke you cracked there? Huh? It clicked now. I can understand that. That time you're distracted by the girl who was sitting next to you. Now tell me, when it clicked for him while driving, did he laugh for my joke or something else? My joke created the thought in his mind for which he laughed. Similarly, Buddha did not have any one teacher. Nobody wanted to be Buddha's teacher. Understandable. Why? He was Prince Siddhartha, the prince of the kingdom, the future ruler. Which sadhu will want him to come and stay in his kutia or in his ashram? Problem ho jayega. It will become a media circus. Just imagine. Just imagine. After the next 5 years, Modi decides to retire. And he tells me, you know, your ashram in Rishikesh, I'm going to come and stay there. What will happen? He said, please don't. Please. We respect you a great deal. We are very, very grateful for what you have done. We'll build a kutia for you outside. Please stay there. Why? The security, this, even our posts this. Ashram will not remain ashram anymore. Unless you are willing to come incognito. Then okay, fine. I will put up a front for you. I'm good at that. At how to create this. All these things I know. We'll speak to your intelligence officers and we'll create a different identity for you. You will disappear. And then you come and then everything's. Why? Because so Buddha did not have any one guru. So he would learn. He would go discuss and learn from a lot of people, then go back and sit down quietly and contemplate on what. So one fine day, it all clicked into place. That's it. It clicked, na? That's good enough. I'm not reducing him to my friend, but the friend is just an example. A simpler example to understand. The whole thing clicked. And it clicked. What clicked in his mind? What he had heard from the Shruti. What he had heard from the Shruti clicked. All the way it's the Shruti functioning, nothing else. If you want Brahmatma-jnanam, Sruti eva sharanam, nothing else will work. I must see, as a student of Vedanta, when you come, you're a very competent person. And I always, if I'm going to select full-timers, always want competent people to come. Yoga karma kaushalam, that is competency, important. You can handle the challenges of life, etc. But then when you come to Vedanta, you must have a sense of surrender to the pramana. Why? Because pramana rules. Many of you here, I know, are listening to me, are my students, etc. They have some shraddha in me. Not total, at least thoda to hai. Some have lots. Supposing I were to tell them, look at this beautiful rabbit in my hand. Can you see? Nice ears. Beautiful rabbit, isn't it? White in color. Completely white, see? Will any of you believe it? If any of you believe it, stop coming to the class tomorrow onwards. Why? You can't. You may want me to be right, but you can't accept it because your surrender is to your eyes, your pramana tells you this is a cell phone, not a rabbit. Shruti has to work for you. You have to look at it in the same manner. Like how you surrendered your eyes. Your wishing, willing, hoping, all that is not applicable here. You may wish it the rabbit, you may want it to be a rabbit. This is a cell phone. That is it. Nothing else works. Your surrender to the eyes is complete. Same way, you look into the Shastra and say the Shastra will work. I'm going to keep all my biases aside, look into the words of the Shastra, study it under a competent teacher and under a Sampradaya teacher. I'm sure it will work for you. If that is your approach, there is no reason why the Shruti cannot bless. It has blessed generations of teachers and students. And Shankara was one of the greatest in that line. Therefore, I will end this by saying the same thing. Tadashva samarambham Shankara Acharya Asmad Acharya Variyantam Vande Guru Parampara. I think good place for me to stop. Couple of minutes to spare.
Thank you, Swamiji, for that insightful talk on Shruti being the only means of Vedanta knowledge, the role it plays as the sixth pramana, and also breaking some of the commonly held notions and myths around this topic. Thank you so much. Thank you, viewers, for the participation. Please join us for tomorrow's morning session from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Can we have the flyer for tomorrow's? So tomorrow morning's session topic is Samanadhikaranaya in Vedanta teaching by Swamini Satvidyanandaji. See you then and signing off for now. Namaskara.
Okay, if anyone wants any questions, etc., they have. I don't know how, but can maybe if they can email it to me, I can answer them.
Anyone with any questions, they can reach out to us. We can connect you to Swamiji. We can share Swamiji's email.
Yeah. My email or even my number, you can use my number. My number is floating around everywhere. No hassles. Yeah.
Yes, Swamiji, definitely. Yeah. Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you.
Thank you all. That's nice. Enjoyed being here.